Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you on Thursday. I hope all is well and you are enjoying your week as we head up towards the end of 2022. Arsenal in action, of course, on New Year's Eve against Brighton, bringing down the curtain on what has been a very interesting calendar year that is, as I said yesterday, highs, then a real low, and then lots of highs as we head towards 2023. Hopefully we can finish it on the perfect note at the Amex Stadium and go into 2023 in a nice winning mood. We shall see about that. I'll talk about that match in this video, look at who could be playing in that one. We'll talk about transfers, of course. There's been more comments coming out of Shakhtar Donetsk on Arsenal's interest in Mudryk, so we'll have a look at that as well. So let's quickly just start with Newcastle, shall we? Not Newcastle, sorry, Brighton. Newcastle's obviously the game after. So start with Brighton, looking at that game. And the Newcastle game, the fact it's on the horizon, which is on the Tuesday night on the 3rd of January, is a little bit interesting. It's like, what do you do? Do you rotate a little bit for that Newcastle game? I don't think so. I think that the fact that the players have had quite a long time off, that you're probably just going to go with it. And you got the Oxford game in the FA Cup after Newcastle, so if you're going to rotate, you rotate for that one, don't you? So I think you just go full strength, as strong as you possibly can for all three of these matches. They did it against West Ham. I'm sure they'll do it against Brighton and Newcastle as well. So, I mean, I think the big question marks you've got on it really only revolves around the left back, and I think we know if both are deemed fully fit, Mikel will go for Zinchenko. I think the fact he gave him 25 minutes or whatever it was, 20 minutes against West Ham was that sort of sign of, right, let's get some minutes into your legs ahead of the next couple of games because you're going to be starting, which is harsh perhaps on Kieran Tierney. But I think we know the pecking order right now when it comes to Mikel Arteta and left back. He loves Zinchenko. That's why he signed him. He loves to be able to play that inverted fullback type. That, to be fair, Tierney is getting much, much better at playing. I think when you watch Tierney now, he's not just that bombing down the left flank, classic old school fullback that we all know and love Tierney for being. He is trying to do a lot more of the inverted stuff that Zinchenko does. But when both of them are fully fit, I think it's pretty obvious that Zinchenko is going to get the nod. And so I'm expecting him to start at the Amex. But other than that, I think it's pretty much going to be the same team that pretty much picks itself at the moment, because there's no Gabriel Jesus. You know, Eddie's going to be leading the line, hopefully full of confidence after that goal against West Ham. And then everyone else, it'll be Ramsdale, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko, Partey, Odegaard, Xhaka, Saka, Nketiah, Martinelli, providing there's no injuries that we don't really know about that's happened or any sort of setbacks that they had in the West Ham game or in training afterwards. That's going to be the team, and fingers crossed it can be a team that gets us 3 points. I mean, Brighton is not a happy hunting ground for Arsenal, or to be fair, Brighton even at the Emirates is not a happy place for Arsenal. They're just they are pretty much Arsenal's bogey team, aren't they? And they've already beaten them once this season in the Cup, knocking a much changed Mikel Arteta side out of the League Cup just before the break for the World Cup. They had a good win at Southampton last time out, so Brighton are going to be full of confidence going into this one. And it's not going to be an easy game for Arsenal. Absolutely not going to be a good game. We know Brighton play very, very good football. Arsenal are going to have to weather a fair few storms, I imagine, in that game, because Brighton are going to have their moments, no doubt about it. Arsenal have been very good on the road so far this season, just that one little blot on the copybook in terms of defeat at Manchester United. Other than that, they've been near perfect, had the draw at Southampton. So, tough game for Arsenal, but fingers crossed they can get the job done. And when you look at the team that Arteta is going to put out on paper, it does feel strong. I don't really see any other changes, I'm sure. I don't know if any of you do, but I think we all know if everyone's fit, what the starting 11 is going to be at the moment. I can't see Arteta deviating away from that just because of that Newcastle game. I think he'll go full strength for all of them and then make changes for the game against Oxford, which is on the Monday night, of course, in the FA Cup. But let me know what you guys think. Starting 11, who should play? Let me know, as always, in the comments below. Okay, so transfer-wise, we'll talk about Mudryk, shall we? Quickly. This is what the assistant sporting director, Carlo Nicolini, is quoted as saying when it comes to Mudryk and Arsenal. He said, "As we've always said, to deal with Mudryk, you need to make an important offer. Arsenal have made such an offer, but there is a negotiation. Players have been sold that clubs wanted to sell and that we believe are no stronger than Mudryk, with a valuation of around 100 million euros. So the 60 million is not enough. I'm not the one making the figure. I don't have particular indications from the company, but the sporting director said that we need an important offer closer to Grealish than to Anthony. If the cash figure is 40 million, then it is not even being taken into consideration. So pretty strong words there. Him basically confirming the sort of numbers in the deal, 40 million euros straight up, with the add-ons taking it to around 60 million euros. And I mean, he calls it, when he says you need to make an important offer, Arsenal have made such an offer. So he's kind of calling Arsenal's offer an important one there. But then that comment about being closer to Grealish than to Antony is interesting, because obviously Grealish was £100 million. But that was a release clause, so it's slightly different to Antony. City obviously triggered the release clause to get Grealish out of Villa. Antony wasn't. It was just it was a straight up fee after a lot of bids had been rejected earlier in the summer from United to Ajax. But the fan there is saying they've got to be closer to Grealish than to Antony. I mean, that's going to set alarm bells ringing. You would think at Arsenal, if that is the case, I mean, they will be. There'll be figures that they know. I mean, look, obviously we're not privy to what the discussions are when Arsenal and Shakhtar have been talking, and they've been talking for a long time. So it's not like this is going to come as any sort of surprise to Arsenal. They'll know. They've seen these. Shakhtar have been very public in these comments before about what they value and how they value Mudryk, and I'm sure they've probably been saying that behind closed doors to Arsenal as well. And so Arsenal will be well aware of that, and it's just a case of how much can you compromise? Because I just can't. I'd be stunned if Arsenal went to that sort of money for Mudryk. I'd be really stunned. I mean, who knows? But I don't know. You look at it, and this is just me talking. Obviously, sort of looking at it on paper, and he's not played that much senior football. He's never played out of Ukraine. That's not dissing Ukrainian football at all. It's just a fact. And so he's not played in one of the top leagues. Obviously, he's done well in the Champions League this season, which has done a lot for his value. But still, I mean, can you really be demanding 100 million? It's very, very difficult if that's seriously what they are only going to sell for. I just can't. I'd be really surprised if someone does. I mean, like we've mentioned Gakpo to PSV to Liverpool for the price tag, and you just kind of look at that and think it just feels so unrealistic to me. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, it's not going to be an easy deal. I think that's been pretty plainly obvious for a while now because of what Shakhtar have been saying publicly, and we're just going to have to wait and see. It's frustrating, I know, because a lot of you guys, I see it, and I'm in the same boat. I just want him through the door straight away because the squad needs it. It'd be a real boost. I think he's a fabulous player, really exciting player who I'm desperate to see play for Arsenal. So I would love to see him January 1st, deal done. I don't really care about the money. It's not my money, it's Arsenal's money. So I'd love to see him just pay whatever it is. But sort of moving away from that, taking a step to the side and thinking of it from a purely business point of view, which obviously everyone at Arsenal has to do when they're doing these transfer deals, could they really justify spending that sort of money on a player who has not done it out in one of the top leagues yet? Or clearly hugely talented, massive potential, frightening pace, brilliant with the ball at his feet, can score goals, can set up goals. So he's the total package from that point of view. But still, someone, you've got to have a valuation of a player. How much further above that valuation can you go just to get a deal done? It's like when you try and buy a house, isn't it? If you're buying a house, I mean, great, yeah, it's your dream house. You'd love to buy it, but if you haven't got them, if you don't think it's worth it, then you're not going to do it. So, I don't know. We'll wait and see. But that's what Shakhtar's latest public comments have been about Mudryk. Let me know what you guys think about that. I mean, I was looking at your comments in yesterday's video, and all of you were saying, "Let's get it through the door now. Let's do it." But there was also plenty of voices in there saying it's just not really worth that sort of money. Can we really pay that sort of money? So let me know. It's always interesting to get your views on the debate. David Ornstein over at The Athletic, the fantastic David Ornstein, of course, has been speaking. He's been, I think it was on NBC or so. It's where he obviously does that for over in America as well. He was talking about Arsenal's transfers. Was talking about Mudryk, I think, and he talked about Joao Felix, saying that Arsenal would like to get Felix done, but at the moment it seems like the figures are too big in terms of that loan fee, 6-month loan, straight loan, no obligation to buy at the end of the season. I mean, it makes loads of sense when you look at it that way. That if he is just, there's going to be no obligation. You'd just be getting a very good player for 6 months. The only issue is, for me, and this is my purely opinion on it, is you've got a 6-month loan deal with a very good player, of course. you're probably going to spend a fair amount of money to get him, where you would have to, if there's no obligation to buy and you're just basically borrowing him for 6 months, you're going to have to be taking on his wages and paying, I'd imagine, Atletico a big loan fee just to let them give you a player for 6 months. I think I've seen a figure of like 8 million banded around. I have no idea if that's true or not, but so that's quite a big money. And then it's only for 6 months. It's in the middle of the season. He's got to hit the ground running. He's just come back from the World Cup. Suddenly you're looking at it, in my view, you've probably got about 2 months of him having to sort of acclimatise and get used to England. Never played here before. In a way, it's a bit of a risk. So it's a weird one. I look at it and think, would that be a good deal or not? And where's he going to play as well if you get Mudryk, who's clearly your priority? See, Mudryk ticks loads of boxes for me. He's just the classic Arsenal type player at the moment. You can see that. It makes sense. They've looked at him for a long time. It just makes sense. Felix is much more of a stopgap. It clearly would be done because of Jesus' injury. But, is he going to play ahead of Nketiah, who Arteta loves and is just desperately trying to give all the confidence he needs to sort of take him to the next level? I don't know. I'm not sure. On paper, you look at it and think Felix or Nketiah. Yeah, Felix is a much bigger name. You'd probably think, yeah, he plays, but I'm not sure Arteta would do that. And so where is he coming in just to be a squad player for the second half of the season? If Mudryk signs as well, where exactly is he going to play? There's lots of sort of question marks whirring around in my head on it. I mean, that's just purely me, my sort of opinion, thinking about it as a potential transfer. I mean, I think it'd be exciting. He's a great player. We know that. I don't think there's been anything official between Arsenal and Atletico. That's certainly the last that I heard about it. But clearly, he's available. Jorge Mendes, his agent, is speaking to lots of clubs. Atletico are allowing that to happen because they kind of want him to get out this month. Felix wants to move. So Mendes is talking to he'll be talking to everyone. Arsenal, United, Chelsea, anyone to try and get this. PSG, I think, have been linked as well. And it's just a case of who decides to pay up the money. Would it be Arsenal? Well, who knows? Will it be Chelsea? For me, it feels like, again, it's just opinion based. It just feels like that's the sort of move that Chelsea would make at some point during the transfer window. So we'll wait and see. But the fact, Davis saying there that Arsenal very, very much interested in Felix, an exciting prospect, no doubt about it. He had a good World Cup. Hasn't quite worked out for him at Atletico, has it? Whether it's him and Simeone got different ideas of where he wants to play, how he wants to play. It certainly feels like he needs a move. Whether a 6-month loan spell to the Premier League in January is going to be hugely beneficial to him or Arsenal, I don't know. It's one that I hope, if it did work out and he did come, that he would hit the ground running and it proved to be a fantastic piece of business. But I don't know, some question marks in my head over how effective and how good a deal that might potentially end up being. So we'll wait and see. Let me know, as always. Would you like Felix? Do you think it would be worth it? Do you think he could come in and be the difference to get Arsenal over the line between now and the end of the season? Let me know, as always, in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Appreciate your time, as always. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll be back to speak more about Arsenal versus Brighton as the days go by. Mykhailo Mudryk speaking tomorrow ahead of that match. It's a late one, 4 p.m. on Friday at London Colney. Mykhailo Mudryk's pre-match press conference, so keep your eyes peeled for all the latest from that. Have a great day. Speak to you soon.